Life is not a fierce race to the finish line, nor is it a complicated puzzle demanding the perfect solution. It is more like a fleeting masterpiece, delicate yet beautiful, given to us to be experienced in its raw, unfiltered form. And yet, so many of us live as prisoners of time, always rushing, always chasing achievements, trying to control every detail, and endlessly pursuing what we believe will make us happy. But have you ever stopped to wonder, in doing so, what are we actually missing? In Japan, there is a profound philosophy called Ichigo Ichie, one time, one meeting. It teaches us that every single moment, no matter how ordinary it may seem, is unique and will never come again. Imagine this. What if the secret to falling in love with life again was not in having more or doing more, but in feeling more, in experiencing life more deeply? Think about the breath you're taking right now, the conversations you've had today, even the small joys like the taste of your morning tea or coffee. These are not just details, they are life itself. Zen wisdom puts it simply: when you walk, just walk. When you eat, just eat. These aren't just empty words. They're an invitation to wake up, to be fully present, to release the weight of regrets from the past, and stop worrying about a future that hasn't yet arrived. When you do this, chaos begins to soften, peace slowly takes its place, and gratitude begins to bloom where dissatisfaction once lived. Now imagine this year being the turning point of your life, the year you finally stopped rushing, the year you stopped chasing endlessly and instead started truly living. By embracing impermanence, you free yourself from the heavy pressure of control, and in that freedom, you discover joy. Joy that has always been around you, but hidden under the noise of constant urgency. Never forget, this life is not something to conquer, not a trophy to display. Life is a gift meant to be loved, cherished, and lived, one irreplaceable moment at a time. Let's begin with a simple truth: the uniqueness of each moment. Picture yourself standing outside during the very first snowfall of winter. Each snowflake drifts down delicate and one of a kind, melting as soon as it touches the earth. Just like those snowflakes, our moments are fragile, fleeting, and beautiful beyond measure. And yet, how often do we let them slip through our fingers, distracted and consumed by what's next on our to-do list? This ancient teaching reminds us every moment is once in a lifetime. When it's gone forever. Life is not measured by the milestones we accomplish, but by the simple, unrepeatable experiences we live through every single day. Think of your morning routine. How many times have you rushed through your coffee already lost in thoughts about the day ahead? But what if just once you slowed down? What if you felt the warmth of the cup in your hands, breathed in its rich aroma, and sipped as if it were your very last? In that instant, a small habit transforms into a moment of pure joy, a memory brief but unforgettable. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to move faster, multitask harder, and measure ourselves only by achievements. But that endless striving blinds us to the beauty that's right here, right now. Imagine instead if we treated every moment as sacred, like the cherry blossoms in spring, treasured, not because they last forever, but because they don't. You will never have this moment again. Slow down. That's the very first step if you want to truly embrace Ichigo Ichie, the art of honoring each unrepeatable moment. Pause deliberately throughout your day. Let yourself sink fully into the present. Feel the warmth of the sunlight resting on your skin. Listen to the bubbling laughter of someone you love, or simply notice the hush of a quiet evening. When you give your undivided attention to these moments, they stop being background noise and start becoming the heartbeat of your life. Then, cultivate gratitude. Don't just wait for big achievements or dramatic changes. Instead, reflect on the small things that bring peace and joy. Write them down in a journal before bed, or simply whisper them to yourself and hold them in your heart. Over time, you'll realize something profound. Life was never empty. It has always been overflowing with little treasures just waiting for you to notice. And here's another truth: let go of the obsession with perfection. Snowflakes remind us of this lesson. None of them are flawless, yet each one is beautiful, intricate, and fleeting. In the same way, no single moment of life needs to be perfect to hold meaning. Even within struggles, in the mundane rhythm of chores, or in the middle of imperfections, beauty is always there if we're willing to open our hearts to see it. Life is not a collection of perfect pictures, but a gallery of fragile, fleeting masterpieces. Don't let them pass unnoticed. Cherish them, savor them. Remember that the present moment is not just another tick of the clock. It is a gift. Treasure it before it dissolves. Now let's talk about another powerful truth: the beauty of impermanence. Imagine a cherry blossom tree in full bloom. For a brief, breathtaking moment, it dazzles with delicate petals swaying in the wind. But soon those petals fall scattered across the ground, carried away by the breeze. And yet, isn't that what makes them so beautiful? Their very fragility is what makes us pause, marvel, and feel. In Buddhist wisdom, impermanence isn't something to resist or fear. It is the essence of life itself. Everything changes, everything passes, and that's precisely why everything matters. Imagine if cherry blossoms bloomed all year long. Would we still stop to admire them, or would we take their beauty for granted? In the same way, life's fleeting nature is not a curse. It is what gives meaning to a child's laughter, to a hug that doesn't last, or to the silent glow of a sunset at the end of the day. But in our hurried lives, we often forget this truth. We cling to what we have terrified of losing it. We overlook the simple beauty right in front of us, assuming it will always be there. Yet, what if we shifted our perspective? What if instead of fighting impermanence, we embraced it? What if we saw it as the very thing that makes each day precious? Start small. Each morning or evening, pause to reflect on the treasures you often overlook. The smile of a stranger, the warmth of your bed, the soothing sound of rain tapping against your window. These are not trivial. They are valuable precisely because they don't last. And while you're at it, loosen your grip on perfection. Life's charm often lies in its rough edges: the chipped mug that still carries your morning coffee, the laughter you share in the middle of a difficult moment, or even the tearful goodbyes that make reunions so powerful. When you accept life's imperfections, you stop wasting energy chasing something impossible, and instead, you discover the joy of appreciating life exactly as it is. Finally, let impermanence inspire you to act. If you knew this day, this hour, this very conversation would never come again, how differently would you live it? Would you choose gentler words? Would you listen more deeply? Would you take the chance that's been waiting for you? Because life, like the cherry blossom, doesn't last forever. And that's exactly what makes it precious. Think about this. What if this very hour, this very conversation could never be repeated? How differently would you live it? Would you soften your tone, choose kinder words, listen with more intention, and grab hold of the opportunities right in front of you? Life is not endless. It's a chain of fragile, fleeting moments. Each one is an invitation, a chance to live fully. We are like cherry blossoms here only for a season. But in that short season, we have the chance to bloom with all the beauty we can give. Remember, value doesn't come from permanence. It comes from fragility. That's what makes each day, each encounter, each breath so precious. Embrace it, cherish it, and let it remind you how to fall in love with your life again. Now, let's shift to something that might surprise you: the freedom of single tasking. Picture a musician holding a guitar. If they try to tune all the strings at once, what happens? Nothing but noise, confusion, disarray. But if they focus on one string, carefully listening, giving it their full attention, suddenly the guitar begins to sing. Life is the same. When we try to do everything all at once, our days become chaotic and fractured. But when we give ourselves permission to focus on one thing at a time, harmony returns. The modern world glorifies multitasking, as if it were a badge of honor. We answer emails while scarfing down lunch. We scroll through social media while half watching a movie. We nod at loved ones while our minds are already racing toward tomorrow's plans. And what's the result? Exhaustion, restlessness, that gnawing feeling that even though you've been busy all day, you haven't really lived at all. Buddhist wisdom whispers a different path: single tasking. Do one thing and do it completely. Imagine the last time you ate a meal. Were you really there? Did you savor each bite? Or were you distracted, lost in your phone, in conversations in your head, in endless noise? Now imagine this: sitting down to a meal, no distractions, no rush. You notice the vibrant colors on your plate, the textures, the flavors bursting with each bite. Suddenly, eating isn't just fuel. It becomes an experience, a meditation on presence. That is the freedom of single tasking. It transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. So, how do you begin? Start small. Choose one activity each day to do mindfully. Maybe it's a walk. But this time, instead of rushing to get somewhere, feel the ground beneath your feet. Hear the leaves rustle in the wind. Notice the steady rhythm of your breath. What was once just getting from A to B becomes something else entirely. A moving meditation, a way to reconnect with life. Next, protect your attention by setting boundaries. Turn off the endless notifications. Close the tabs that clutter your focus. Create little islands of stillness in your day, where you can give yourself wholly to the task at hand, whether that task is finishing a project or sitting face to face with someone you love. You'll be amazed at how much more deeply you connect, how much more productive you become, how much richer life feels. And finally, practice patience. Single tasking requires us to slow down, to resist the temptation to juggle everything at once. It's a gentle reminder that life isn't a race to cram in more. It's a symphony made of individual notes. The beauty is not just in the final song, but in the tuning, the process, the presence. Like a guitar string that hums with clarity when tuned with care, your life too begins to sing when you give it your full attention. When you allow yourself to give full attention to just one thing, something powerful happens. You reconnect with the present. Suddenly, the simplest acts begin to sparkle with joy again. This is why single tasking isn't just a technique. It's a doorway back to loving life, one harmonious moment at a time. Now let's move into something even deeper: releasing regret and anxiety. Picture yourself on a long journey, but you're carrying two massive suitcases. One is crammed with the weight of old regrets, and the other is packed with anxieties about the future. With each step, your shoulders strain, your body bends, and the road feels endless. No wonder the walk becomes unbearable. Here's the liberating truth: you don't need to carry those bags. Regret chains you to a past that cannot be changed, while anxiety drags you toward a future that hasn't yet arrived. Together, they rob you of the only thing you truly have: this present moment. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow is uncertain, and today is the only ground you can stand on. Regret whispers in your ear, "You should have done better." Anxiety taunts you with, "What if it all goes wrong?" Yet neither of these voices lives in reality. The present moment is the only place where life is unfolding. Think back to a mistake you've replayed in your mind, again and again, wishing you could rewrite it. Did the endless replay fix anything, or did it only deepen the ache? Regret is not meant to be a life sentence, it's meant to be a teacher. Instead of letting it trap you, ask, "What can this experience teach me?" Maybe it nudges you to show more kindness, to listen more carefully, or to make wiser choices next time. Take the lesson, thank it, and then set the weight down. Now let's talk about anxiety, that constant stream of what-ifs, pulling you into a future that doesn't exist yet. When fear rises, anchor yourself in the present. Breathe slowly, deeply. Feel the air filling your lungs. Listen to the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. Notice the ground holding you up. These are reminders right here, right now. You are safe, and this moment is enough. Make this mindset a daily practice. When regret surfaces, pause and write down one lesson it offered you. Transform it into wisdom instead of letting it remain a wound. When anxiety appears, use grounding techniques. Look around and name 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, and 3 things you can hear. These simple steps pull your attention back to the here and now, back to life as it's actually happening. Letting go doesn't mean erasing the past or pretending the future doesn't matter. It means refusing to let them control you. Like shedding those heavy suitcases, releasing regret and anxiety makes you lighter, freer, and open to the journey ahead. The path clears, and your heart has space to breathe again. Because peace is not hiding in yesterday or waiting in tomorrow. Peace is quietly waiting for you in today. The tide always comes in, no matter how carefully you shape your sandcastle. Eventually, the waves wash it away. Relationships are much the same, beautiful, meaningful, but never permanent. Yet this impermanence isn't something to grieve. It's a reminder, a call to love more deeply, to treasure every moment we share with the people who matter most. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that every encounter is once in a lifetime. Whether it's a lifelong friend or a stranger, you'll never meet again. That moment of connection will never repeat itself in exactly the same way. When you understand this, love doesn't shrink, it expands. Awareness of life's fleeting nature doesn't weaken love, it magnifies it. It urges us to stop taking people for granted and to approach every interaction with presence, gratitude, and sincerity. Think back to your last conversation with someone you truly care about. Were you fully there, or were you distracted mentally drafting your next response, sneaking a glance at your phone, or letting your thoughts drift elsewhere? Imagine how much more meaningful that moment could have been if you had given it your full, undivided attention. Presence has the power to transform an ordinary exchange into something unforgettable, something sacred. So how do we love more deeply? Start with listening, not just hearing the words, but listening with your heart. When someone speaks, put everything else aside. Look them in the eyes, nod. Let your body language show that you are with them, that they are seen, heard, and valued. This simple act can create a bond stronger than any grand gesture ever could. Next, speak your gratitude. Don't wait for birthdays or anniversaries to tell someone how much they mean to you. A heartfelt thank you for a small kindness, a quick note of appreciation for simply being in your life. These words carry incredible weight. They leave imprints that can last far longer than the moment itself. And above all, treasure the time you spend together. Whether it's sharing a quiet meal, walking through a park, or even talking over the phone, treat these experiences as sacred. One day they'll only exist as memories. That's precisely what makes them so valuable. Life is fragile. Relationships are fleeting. But that's their beauty. Like a sandcastle standing tall before the tide, they remind us of the urgency of presence, of loving fully while we still can. Every meeting, every conversation, every shared laugh is a gift. Embrace it, nurture it. Allow it to expand your capacity to love, because when you do, you'll realize that impermanence doesn't diminish life, it makes it extraordinary. Joy doesn't always arrive in grand achievements or dramatic moments. It often blooms quietly in the smallest of things. A gentle smile from a stranger, a cool breeze brushing against your skin, a kind word spoken at just the right time. Think back to the last time you truly paused to save a life. Maybe it was the comforting warmth of your morning coffee, the sound of rain tapping gently against your window, or the laughter of someone you love echoing in your ears. On the surface, these moments may seem ordinary, even trivial, but in reality, they are the threads weaving together a life of contentment and peace. When you give these simple experiences your full attention, they transform. They stop being background noise and become profound sources of happiness. The challenge is that in today's fast-paced world, we often lose sight of them. We get caught in the endless chase for bigger, better, and more, thinking that promotions, awards, or material possessions will finally deliver the fulfillment we're after. But how often do we stop and ask ourselves, am I even noticing the beauty that's already here, right in front of me? Imagine walking through a vibrant garden bursting with color. Instead of pausing to admire the flowers, you rush straight toward the gate at the far end, too focused on the finish line to notice the wonder along the way. That garden is your life, and attention is what allows you to see its beauty. Without it, you're blind to the blessings already blooming all around you. So how do you cultivate joy through attention? Start with something simple. At the end of each day, reflect on 3 moments that brought you joy, no matter how small. Perhaps it was the cheerful song of a bird outside your window, the kindness of a stranger who held the door, or the satisfaction of finishing a task you'd been putting off. Write these moments down. Let them remind you that your life is quietly abundant. Then bring mindfulness into your daily routines. When you eat, don't just swallow food. Notice the colors, the textures, the flavors as they unfold. When you walk, don't rush. Feel the rhythm of your steps, the air moving across your skin, the ground steady beneath your feet. These small acts of attention root you in the present, and when you're anchored in the now, the ordinary suddenly becomes extraordinary. Remember, joy doesn't demand extravagant experiences or perfect circumstances. It doesn't ask for fame, wealth, or perfection. All it asks for is your presence. Just as wildflowers need sunlight to bloom, the simple moments of your life need your attention to reveal their beauty. When you focus on these small joys, you realize something powerful. Happiness isn't something to chase, it's something you create. Treasure these moments because in the end, the greatest gifts life offers are often the simplest ones. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes it flows smoothly like a calm river. Other times it twists, turns, and pulls you in directions you never expected. Think about a time when things didn't unfold the way you planned. Maybe it was a career setback, an unexpected shift in your personal life, or even something small like a cancelled plan you had been looking forward to. How much energy did you waste trying to wrestle with reality, to bend it into what you wanted it to be? Did all that resistance bring you closer to peace, or did it only deepen your frustration? Now imagine approaching it differently. Instead of pushing against what you couldn't control, what if you focused on what you could, your attitude, your choices, your willingness to adapt? Suddenly, the weight begins to lift. The situation might not change, but you change, and that changes everything. Releasing the need for control begins with shifting your focus. Put your energy into actions, not outcomes. If you're working toward a goal, give yourself fully to the effort instead of obsessing over the result. Trust the process even when the destination feels uncertain, because no matter how hard we try, some pieces of life will always remain outside our grasp. Another key is learning to welcome uncertainty. Life's greatest opportunities often hide in the unexpected twists. The river's currents may carry you to places you never imagined, but those places may hold beauty, growth, and transformation you couldn't have planned for yourself. What looks like a detour can turn into the very road you were meant to walk. And then there's gratitude. The craving for control almost always comes from fear. Fear of failure, fear of loss, fear of the unknown. Gratitude dissolves that fear. Instead of obsessing over what could go wrong, gratitude shifts your eyes to what is already right. The steady ground beneath your feet, the people who support you, the breath you're taking right now. Gratitude anchors you in the present, where peace lives. When you stop fighting life's current and learn to flow with it, everything changes. Challenges become teachers, detours become discoveries. Anxiety gives way to peace. The river of life doesn't need you to control it, it only needs your trust. Let go, flow freely, and in that surrender you'll find a freedom so deep it will make you fall in love with your life all over again. Now, let's step into the next truth, finding growth in discomfort. Picture holding a piece of raw gold. At first glance, it looks dull, ordinary, unremarkable, but once it's placed in fire, the heat burns away. The impurities and the brilliance within begins to shine. Challenges in life are exactly like that fire. They stretch us, test us, and yes, sometimes they burn. But in the process, they refine us, shaping us into stronger, wiser, more resilient beings. Even pain has a voice. It is not just suffering, it is a teacher. If you listen closely, it carries lessons that can deepen your understanding of yourself and of the world around you. The problem is, modern life has conditioned us to run from discomfort at all costs. We numb it, avoid it, or escape it entirely, convincing ourselves that comfort equals happiness. But the truth is, avoiding discomfort doesn't lead to growth. It leads to stagnation. Real transformation requires stepping into the fire. Think back to a time when you faced something truly difficult, a tough conversation you didn't want to have, a personal failure that shook you, or a painful loss that left you breathless. In the moment, it may have felt unbearable. But looking back, can you see how it shaped you? How it carved out resilience, built patience, or revealed a strength you didn't know you had? That is the refining power of discomfort. At the time, some challenges feel almost unbearable. You may wonder how you'll ever get through them. And yet, when you look back later, you often realize that those very moments shaped you in ways nothing else could. Maybe they taught you patience when you wanted to rush ahead. Maybe they built resilience when you felt like breaking. Or maybe they revealed an inner strength you didn't even know you carried. That is the refining power of discomfort. It burns away what is unnecessary and leaves behind the essence of who you are. So how do we find growth inside discomfort? The first step is to shift perspective. Instead of labeling challenges as enemies standing in your way, begin to see them as opportunities disguised as hardship. The next time you feel yourself in pain or frustration, pause and ask, what lesson is hidden here for me? That one question turns pain into curiosity. Suddenly, you're no longer just enduring, you're learning. This mindset gives you courage and openness to face difficulties head-on. Another practice is to sit with discomfort instead of running from it. When you feel anxious, upset, or restless, resist the urge to numb it with distractions. Instead, breathe deeply. Acknowledge what you feel without judgment. Ask yourself gently, why am I feeling this way? What is this moment trying to teach me? By facing discomfort directly, you strip it of its power to control you and uncover the wisdom it carries. And remember, growth is never instant. Just like raw gold must endure fire before its brilliance is revealed, your transformation also takes time. The process will feel messy. It may even feel uncertain, but every challenge you face, every difficulty you endure, is shaping you into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your ally. It's the catalyst that awakens new depth, wisdom, and resilience inside you. When you stop running from it and begin learning from it, life takes on a richness you may have never known before. Embrace the fire. Step into it with trust. And when you emerge, you will not only be refined, you will be radiant, resilient, and ready to love your life again. The power of letting go. Now, picture a tree burdened with heavy dead branches. Those branches no longer serve the tree. They weigh it down, drain its energy, and block sunlight from reaching its healthy leaves. But when the tree is pruned, when the dead weight is finally cut away, the tree breathes again. It grows taller, stronger, and more vibrant than before. Life works the same way. Clinging to possessions, people, or outcomes that no longer serve us is like dragging around dead branches. They keep us heavy, tired, and closed off to the light. But when we learn to let go, we create space for new growth, for fresh joy, for unexpected freedom. What you release is what sets you free. Buddhist philosophy places the principle of letting go at the very heart of peace. Our suffering rarely comes from the events themselves. It comes from our tight grip on how we think life should be. We cling to expectations, to material possessions, to relationships, even when they no longer bring life to us, because we believe they define us or keep us safe. But this clinging is what binds us. It breeds fear of loss and steals away inner peace. Think back to the last time you lost something. Maybe it was a job, an opportunity, a friendship, or even an object you cherished. At first, the loss felt unbearable, almost as if a piece of your identity had been ripped away. But over time, didn't you adapt? Didn't you discover new paths, deepen other relationships, or realize that you didn't need that thing as much as you thought? Letting go doesn't make you weaker. It reveals the strength and resilience that was already inside you. The practice of letting go doesn't have to begin with something big. Start small. Take a quiet moment and reflect on what you're still holding on to. Maybe it's an object that no longer serves you but still clutters your space. Maybe it's a grudge you've carried for years weighing on your heart. Or maybe it's an expectation of yourself, of someone else, that continues to disappoint you. Ask yourself, is this worth carrying any longer? Now choose just one thing to release today. It could be as simple as donating something you no longer need. It could be writing a letter of forgiveness, whether you send it or not, doesn't matter. Or it could be closing your eyes, breathing deeply, and saying to yourself, I let this go. Even small acts of release open space for healing. Another powerful practice is journaling your worries. Take every concern that circles in your mind and put it down on paper. Write them all out, every fear and frustration, then read them aloud, acknowledging each one. Finally, close your eyes and imagine placing those worries on a leaf, letting the current of a river carry them away. Watch them drift further and further until they vanish from sight. This isn't about pretending problems don't exist. It's about accepting that some things are beyond your control and finding peace in that truth. Letting go is not the same as giving up. It is about making room. Like pruning a tree, it clears away the branches that block the sunlight, allowing new growth to emerge. The freedom you gain isn't just the absence of weight, it's the presence of possibility. By releasing what no longer serves you, you uncover the space to breathe, to grow, and to fall in love with life again, living with intention. Now, imagine life as a vast garden. Every seed you plant carries the potential to bloom into something beautiful. But seeds only grow if they're planted with care, tended with patience and nurtured under the right conditions. The same is true of the intentions we set. Our intentions are like those seeds. They shape the course of our lives. Yet too often we drift through our days without planting them, letting the winds of distraction scatter us in every direction. But when we live with intention, every moment becomes fertile ground for creating a life rich with meaning. In Buddhist philosophy, this awareness, this purposeful way of living, is the very heart of fulfillment. Without it, we float aimlessly, swept away by the expectations of others or by old habits we never questioned. But with intention, we become gardeners of our own journey. We don't just watch life happen, we design it. Each choice, each action carries meaning. Think about a time when you acted with clear purpose. Maybe you poured yourself into work that truly mattered to you. Maybe you sat down with someone you loved and shared a conversation that went deeper than usual. Do you remember how that felt? When our actions align with our values, life feels richer. Time itself seems to slow down. Even the smallest moments shimmer with significance. So how do we live intentionally? Start small. Each morning, set one simple focus for your day. Not a long, overwhelming list, but a clear, guiding intention. Maybe you say, today I will work with gratitude, or today I will make space for connection. These small intentions are like planting morning seeds, and as the day unfolds, you water them through your choices, your actions, your attention. Of course, distractions will come. Life will pull you in 100 directions. But when that happens, gently bring yourself back to your intention. Ask yourself, does this choice honor the purpose I set for today? If yes, continue. If not, redirect. This simple practice shifts everything. Living with intention doesn't demand perfection. It simply asks you to be aware of where your energy goes. And just as seeds take time to grow into blossoms, your daily intentions, when nurtured, slowly transform into a life overflowing with purpose, joy, and meaning. This one small habit, living with intention, changes everything. It sharpens your clarity, it puts you back in charge of your day, and it transforms ordinary moments into experiences filled with purpose and direction. Living with intention is not about striving for perfection. It's about paying attention to where your energy flows. Just as seeds need time, water, and care to grow into flourishing plants, your intentions, when nurtured, slowly blossom into a life brimming with joy, purpose, and fulfillment. Step by step, choice by choice, you stop chasing happiness and begin creating it with your own hands. And here's the bonus lesson. The true secret to loving your life is learning to cherish each moment as it comes. Picture yourself in a bustling cafe. People hurry past, conversations rise and fall, cups clink gently in the background. In the middle of this noise, you pause, you breathe, you notice. You feel the warmth of the cup in your hands. You inhale the deep aroma of the coffee. Even the hum of voices becomes less of a distraction and more of a gentle soundtrack. That's what it means to love life, not by changing the world outside, but by being fully present within it. Buddhist wisdom reminds us true contentment doesn't come from controlling everything around us. It comes from shifting how we experience the present moment. Yet society often tells us happiness is earned through success, money, relationships, or status. We run endlessly thinking joy lies somewhere ahead in the next achievement, the next possession, the next milestone. But what if happiness is not a prize to chase? What if it has been here all along, waiting quietly in the moments we rush past? Mindfulness teaches us to pause, to breathe, to notice what is happening right now. It's not about chasing the next big thing. It's about recognizing the beauty that already surrounds us. Sunlight spilling across the floor, leaves rustling gently in the wind, the calm rhythm of your breath rising and falling. These simple details are not meaningless, they are gifts. Yet we overlook them because we are too busy worrying about what comes next. But when we start to value these moments, life shifts. What once felt ordinary now glows with extraordinary depth. The dull transforms into delightful. The routine becomes sacred. Even washing the dishes can be more than a chore. It can be a mindful practice, the warmth of the water, the smoothness of the soap, the steady rhythm of your hands moving back and forth. What once felt like a burden can become a small grounding meditation. When we see life this way, every moment becomes a doorway back into its quiet beauty. The happiness we've been chasing out there in the distance isn't far away at all. It's here within us, hidden in plain sight, waiting for us to pay attention. By choosing presence, we rediscover how to love life again. Not because the world around us has changed, but because we have changed the way we see it. This single shift transforms everything from endless striving, comparison, and chasing into calm acceptance, deep gratitude, and genuine joy. Life is not a race to the finish line. It's not a puzzle demanding to be solved. Life is a masterpiece to be savored, one fleeting, precious moment at a time. The Japanese teaching of Ichigo Ichie, one time, one meeting, reminds us of this truth. Every encounter, every moment is unique and will never return again. That is why it matters. That is why it is sacred. That is why it is worth treasuring.